Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Morino back here. Yeah, it's live streaming time again. Today's subject, hold on, today's subject will be about mainly about Eric Anderson says hello. You're the first Eric Anderson about not giving in to impulse and the importance thereof. Uh, Let me see for a second. Just the usual stuff. Ah, get lost. Yeah. Hi guys. ED Covenant says hello. Eric Anderson says yep for me. Yeah. So ED Covenant says good topic and hello. Yeah. Hi guys. In any case, welcome. As you can see, I haven't stopped live streaming. It's fucking hot in my location at the moment, as you can tell based on the background and the natural lighting. It is 37 degrees in my location. I feel like a fucking soft boiled egg. I had to retreat to my bathtub yesterday, but I don't think I'm going to do that today because I don't want to do it 20,000 times. And I need to drink something like Red Bull, something to keep me cold or try to keep me cold. In any case, today's topic, like I said, is going to be about not giving in to impulse. Okay. Today's topic is going to be about not giving in to human impulses. Unfortunately, we live in a time where I think the majority of mankind cannot be considered to be people. They're more verminish in nature or vermin-like in nature. And yeah, so this is more of a neutral stream. It's not specifically pertaining to the occult. It's not specifically relating to occultism. And the main topic is a general one. So yeah, now let me notify someone else that I'm live streaming too. Okay, so yeah, let me begin. An simple example that I'm going to give is the biological urge that women, for example, have to reproduce. Something that a lot of people out there aren't aware of, but as you can see, practically almost every woman on this planet wants to have children at some point in her life. I rarely meet women that do not want children. Eric Anderson says, thank God you still stream. Yeah, a lot of people are disappointed that I was not going to live stream anymore or similar, whatever, but I just felt like live streaming. So yeah, in any case, topic wise, a lot of people out there, a lot of women especially, feel the need to procreate. They feel the need, men too, but to a lesser extent, a significant lesser extent compared to women. But women feel the biological urge to reproduce, and it's very important to not live by these urges or by these impulses. Otherwise, you deserve to be called vermin, in my opinion. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that every person out there that wants children, for example, and that gives in to daily impulses or just impulses that come to them, that something's wrong with them or that they're vermin automatically. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that you shouldn't give in to impulses. A simple example is that if you ask most women, especially if you give in to impulses and if you ask women, David B says, hello, hello, David B. You can see the topic for yourself, David B. If you ask a lot of women, specifically people in the third world have this, David B says, nice outfit, yeah, thank you. If you ask women, especially people in third world countries, okay, I can guarantee you that 99 out of 100 will not be able, assuming that they have children, they won't be able to tell you why they have children. Just one plausible, just carry out an inquiry and ask people on the street, just interview them. Do you have children? If so, why do you have children? Can you explain for us in short what made you come to the decision to have children? I can guarantee you that 99% is going to talk out of their ass, and you'll be really hard pressed and find it really difficult to find someone that can actually give you a plausible explanation. And honestly, for someone like me, it's offensive, okay? And that's why I call them vermin. I don't care who thinks I'm insulting them. I don't care who thinks that I'm stepping on their toes. I don't care about who thinks this or that. No, 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 no. My point is, it is ridiculously important, especially to people that are into the occult or people that are striving towards self-betterment and self-ascendance, or whether it be spiritually or otherwise, to not give in to impulse. Because if you live your life like an impulse, then you're worse than a wild animal. Because even that animal still thinks, has a limited, severely limited capacity, depending on the kind of animal or the kind of wildlife that I'm referring to, has a severely limited, but yet still has the capacity for thinking. But it seems that, yeah, nowadays, a lot of quote unquote people out there, like I said, you can't call them people. You see people, for example, struggling to get by and yet they have 8 children. People are getting evicted from what's supposed to be a house. Would honestly, an outhouse would be a better phrase, a better synonym. But yeah, they still have children. This is an example, okay? I'm simply using this as an example for how important it is to not give way to impulse. And once you ask them in that metaphorical inquiry that I mentioned just now, ask them on the street, and once you really start pressuring them, they'll start getting upset. You'll get a bunch of mixed emotions. They'll start getting upset, they'll start getting this, they'll start getting that. See, that's my point. Ask them, okay, what made you, why did you want to have children? Did you prepare yourself accordingly? Did you say to yourself, see, that's what a logical person does. Did you prepare yourself accordingly? Did you say, you know what, am I mentally competent to take care of another person, another human being for at least 20 years or 30 years? Am I ready to be someone's parent? Am I capable? Can I handle it emotionally? Can I handle it financially? The person that I intend on having children with, will this person also be around in the long term? Is our bond strong enough, or is our marriage strong enough to withstand multiple children? You know, have I thought out worst case scenario? What if my child turns into a drug dealer or turns into someone that the household cannot support no longer or respect? Do I have what it takes to put his ass out on the street or her ass out on the street? And it just goes on. But no, the majority of these people, they simply can't think. And as a result, they just, I don't know what to make of it. They can't think. It seems like they don't have the capacity to think. But that's a given because most of them are as ugly as they are stupid. And in any case, it's ridiculous. Okay, you see people that literally make less than minimum wage. I mean, half of minimum wage. And how many children do they have? 8 children. No plausible reason. Okay, they can't think. Oh no, I can't have children. I'm not even capable of taking care of myself. For example, financially, let alone do something else. So no. But no, what happens? They give into the simplest way to explain it is that they give into the biological need slash urge to procreate because it's literally hardwired in them, especially women. They feel the need to procreate. They simply feel like their so-called biological clock is ticking, if you will. That's a phrase that a lot of them use. David B says, are they getting money for having that many children? No, they're not. Okay. In some cases, they try to cheat the system in countries where they can cheat the system, but that's not the reason. Notice that specifically people in third world countries have a lot of children. People in first world countries, people in countries that are better off, that have a living standard or a better living standard, don't get children. How many people in Europe have children? How many people in North America? The population density largely stays the same, okay? Maybe 1 or 2 children at most per household. Rarely will you find someone who has multiple children, but and they have that. The reason is the reasons for that are normal. People primarily live by thought, rationale. They live by rational thinking. They focus on their own well-being. They focus on enjoying their own lives. They want to retain their living standards. And children are simply an immensely huge sacrifice to make. I've always said to myself, no marriage, no children. Okay, but again, never say never. There are always exceptions. But generally speaking, no. I don't think that I will get married or have children. Uh, so yeah, but yeah, like I said, I mean, you just look at Africa, for example. Population is literally exploding. People can't even buy toilet paper to wipe their own asses, crudely or bluntly put. And Yet every household has what, 20 children? It's just offensive. I mean, how someone could be that worthless and that primitive, just giving in to impulse. And it is so ridiculously important. And anyone that's watching this, I want to make that person aware of it, how important it is to not live by impulse. Otherwise, you're no different than an animal. I mean, don't act like some wild animal, or don't act like a parasite and then complain when you don't have anything, because I've met people like that. All they can do is complain. I'm so disappointed with my life. I'm so disappointed the way things turned out. I'm so disappointed this. I'm so disappointed that. Blah 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 blah, etc. etc. But yet you have two children. You have practically no work experience. I'm talking for as an example. I'm talking to a colleague that I had. Someone that the first company that I worked at. I worked with a bunch of miscreants for colleagues. The company itself is also a load of crock of shit. But yeah, that's set aside. It's just, once you get to working with each other, a bond develops and you start talking with each other and so on. And a colleague of mine, it was a fat black woman or a fat black girl. She was still in her 20s or something. And she told me how disappointed she was with her life, and that life is incredibly hard. But I was like, okay, life is incredibly hard. You have little to no work experience. This is your first real job. For the rest, you just sit at home and just sleep all day like a fucking hippo. She looks like a hippo too. Negro hippo, if you will, black hippo. And you have two children. You live in a shithole, not even a house. She lived in a garage and she lived in her mother's or her parents' garage. That's the equivalent of living in your parents' basement. And yet you have two fucking children. You don't even have a living room with furniture. You just have a bed. I mean, God willing, unfortunately, I helped her out once because she bought a secondhand computer and she barely even know what a computer is. So she asked me to just install it and blah, blah, blah. And I helped her out and, I saw her shithole. And I was like, okay, wow. I mean, wow, just wow. It's really just, And yeah, that's how she lives. Look at that. You have two children. See, you're complaining that your life is a big disappointment, but you have two children. You're seeing a man or the father of those two children, the guy that you're living with. You're not even content with him. You don't really want him around. That's also what she told me. She's sick of him. And she doesn't really want him. She only stays with him because she has children with him. He's practically the only breadwinner. I mean, that was her first job. And again, the company that I worked for didn't pay a lot. Company was like what? Paid $100 a month. Can you imagine that? That's half of what the average person makes here. I mean, talk about minimum wage. Not there's any welfare program here. Otherwise, the worthless scum that lives here will not work even. They'll just go to collect money, and it just goes on. It just keeps going on and on and on. And I was like, see, that's an example. But yeah, I mean, you can't call her a person. She might be nice and everything, but no, let's not kid ourselves. And that's why I'm stressing it so. That's why I'm laying so much emphasis on something like this. Do not give in to daily impulses. Lead your life if you're capable of doing so, even if you have that smidgen, that tiny bit of self awareness. Lead your life or live your life based on impulses, but don't act like some teenager that is just, that's completely sex crazy because his hormones are going crazy and your hormones are driving you nuts, and you basically, as a result, have sex with every person you can see or every person that's willing to have sex with you, and boom, before you know it, you're stuck with children and you can't even take care of yourself, and your children are literally just a gigantic eyesore and like a ball and chain strapped to your leg. And then don't complain, okay? Because you dug your own grave. But don't go complain that you don't have any opportunities, you don't have any means of expanding your life and making a better, forging something better for yourself, blah blah blah. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, my advice would be to not do so. Just let me see what people in the comment section are saying. Um, David B says the most average is like 1.5 children in Europe or America. True. Eric Anderson says 8 children. Oh no. David B says, but in the past it was very common that people had 10 children and such, maybe because there wasn't TV. LOL. Yeah.
Gregorium says, nice fedora. Eric Anderson says, ha 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 ha. Hello, Gregorium. Wow, just $100 a month. Yes. And Mario David is asking me occult related questions. Moreno, good afternoon. I'm with the translator. There is no information of Clonic in my language. So I ask you, according to your experience, Clonic or Mamong, I can ask Clonic for material things like sales, blah, 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 blah. What's your name again? Mario David. Listen, I think you really missed it. Okay, listen. I have a Spanish language tab in my on my website. So there you go. That's the link in the chat bar. So knock yourself out. I am going to continue with what I was discussing. So yeah, the same things that David B is saying right now. Yeah, that is the case. Okay, people have how should I put this? People back in the day had a lot of children. Okay, I remember locally my so-called family, quote unquote family, for example, my grandmother from my father's side. I think she has in total 15 to 20 children. Can you imagine that? 15 to 20 children. That's like turning your goddamn vagina into a clown car. It's literally like a clown car. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I mean, it's not like it's some accident, that you can just have a child, boom, willy nilly, just like that, out of nowhere. That a child just slipped out. Oh my God, I was pregnant. Oh my God, no! You have to carry that child for 9 fucking months. Imagine 20 children. That's like 20 years almost, or at the very least 15 years of your life being pregnant. So that means that if you were 30, the only time when you'll get used to not having a stomach, a pregnant stomach, is when you're 45 or close to 50. Can you imagine that? I mean, how can you just be so. And not just that, you can't even take care of yourself. You have no fucking job. Husband's the only breadwinner. You have nothing. I mean, no tangible quality of life whatsoever. What kind of life is that? You can't even say, hey, I'm gonna live off the land, I'm gonna go fishing, I'm gonna go hunting or shit. No. You just have to sit around and look at the vermin that you literally just gave birth to and look at your vermin babies and then complain that you don't have any food to feed them or that you don't have money to buy diapers and shit. I mean, how offensive is that to any rational human being? How offensive is that? How can someone how can someone be that worthless? How can someone be so verminish in nature? I mean, that's just offensive. Okay, again, notice the trend. In Europe, one child, 1.5 child, children, sorry, per family, per household, like David B says, within the new millennium. I think starting 2000. In any case, this generation, the people that are of my age, or most of the commenters here, we're between 20 and 40 years old. So yeah, it's just offensive. I mean, I can't, for the love of God, I can't imagine, how someone can be that, how someone can be that, how I can't imagine that you don't have a brain and that your brain, if I'm assuming that you have a brain, that your brain doesn't tell you, hey, listen, getting that many children or having that many children is not going to work. I can't feed these children. I don't have a proper career. I don't have a stable form of income. I don't have anything. I mean, ask them. Literally, just go out on the street and ask the average person, especially in let's just say in Africa or some shithole. Ask them, how why they had children. I'm sorry, excuse me, miss. No, I'm noticing that you have children with you. May I ask? We're interviewing people as a basically an inquiry, and we're simply gathering statistical data, and we're basically collecting information. And we would like to know, you have two children. Those are your children, okay? Can you explain to us in detail why you had these children? Or do you have any tangible reason? Were these children planned, miss? Did you think about all of this? Did you plan them ahead? I mean, I'm assuming that you're able to take care of them, but no, they won't be able to tell you anything, and that's when some of them will. I get guaranteed some of them will start getting offended. Others will just walk away because they can't give you any plausible reason. They can't give you any reason that is based on logic, rationale, and whatnot. Because they just felt like having children. They just didn't. They just didn't think. because they're incapable of thought, because thinking is for people. And parasites can't think. Parasites don't have brains, last time I checked. So you can imagine how worthless, how offensive it is. And again, notice that the locations where this is the case, that these locations are literally not worth a goddamn thing, not one single thing. And yeah, especially from an occult perspective, it is very important to be self aware and to be self conscious. If you're not, this is from an occult as well as a neutral perspective. I would simply advise you to think about your life every day. This is a simple exercise, okay? Just play back the details of your life from birth, starting up to where you are, age wise. Just think about things that you consider the most important things that happened in your life. Elementary school, high school, middle school, your first job, the household or the family you grew up in, etc. All of these things. Think about all of that and keep adding more details as each day goes by. You just have to do this once a day, and this will see to it that you'll become more self-aware, and you'll see that hey, you'll become more self-aware, and with self-awareness comes the added benefit of just by being self-aware, you'll immediately see that you'll think twice or more times, even 3 to 4 times before making a decision. I mean, making decisions by impulse is no way to live. That's just people don't live like that. David B says it's like spawning. Eric Anderson says, "Wow, this wow, 20 children." Goddess of Earth says maybe those people are mentally ill. I don't think so, Goddess of Earth. Okay, mentally ill is not an excuse. I'm talking about every woman that I've come across, even women in countries that have a considerable living standard. You name it, Canada, the U.S. Those women have told me that they want children too. Of course, they didn't say that they wanted 20 children, but they still wanted 1 or 2 children. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying that everyone should be like me, that everyone should remain unmarried and have no children. Otherwise, the world's population is going to die out. What I am saying is that your choice needs to be based on rational thinking. You should be able to explain to people what, the who, the what, the where, the why, and the how. But if you can't do so, then you failed yourself as a human being. I mean, if I have children and someone asks me, I'll openly tell that person I honestly do not like children, generally speaking, except my own, for example. And I didn't want children, but I met the right woman, and she is the main motivational factor, or she was the main motivational factor for me having children. And I thought about it and everything. I mean, if I have children, everything will be planned beforehand. I mean, most of you know me. Everything, I mean, everything will be planned. My children will most likely even have angelic names or shit. I mean, I might name one of my children Samael and the other one Sandalphon. That might be funny to a couple of you. You name it, everything will be planned beforehand. I'm not kidding. Everything, every fucking thing. But that's the whole point of everything. You need to be able to prepare yourself. You don't have to be like me and plan everything out in the details, but you need to simply ask yourself, am I competent? You know, do I make the money capable of taking care of a child? Can I take care of myself? Do I have a roof over my head? Can I provide that child with a stable household? Will I be raising that child alone? Blah, blah, blah. Am I willing to make the most important question? Am I willing to make that tremendous sacrifice just for the sake of someone else? Do the benefits outweigh the drawbacks? The children, making me happy. Will my children make me happy enough to the point where it's worth all the sacrifices and all the negativity? And of course, again, you should always plan another thing aside from self awareness. You should always, always, always plan for the worst case scenario. That's what I do, and I have no issues whatsoever. Okay, I have never had any issues. But you should simply put yourself in that mindset so that when the worst, in case it's unlikely, but in case the worst thing actually happens, the unlikeliest of things happen, or the unlikeliest of things happen, then it won't come as a surprise in any case. I learned my lesson once. I think I already mentioned that in the past. Okay, long story short, it was in the beginning of my occult career, and my first technique that I tried out, I made the grievous mistake or grievous error to attach all of my hope on that technique. And worst case scenario happened. The technique
did not pan out, and it was back to the drawing board for me. And I almost had a nervous breakdown. I literally almost collapsed mentally, and I just almost ended up having a depression and wanting to kill myself or something horrible. But that's just my point. And from that point on, that's my point. And from that point on, I learned that I should always prepare for the worst case scenario. It doesn't matter what happens. Prepare for the worst case scenario, the most unimaginable thing that can happen. And in the case of, for example, having children, I would simply advise people just keep in mind, think about that in your head, in the sense of there is the realistic possibility that your child, your bundle of joys, if you will not turn out to be such a bundle of joy. Your child might also, I mean, drug dealers, criminals, and all kinds of other um, embarrassments to society are also have parents. They also have families. You name it. Terrorists have families. They have parents too. And I don't think their parents said to themselves, okay, I want my son to be a member of the jihadi squad or to be a member of ISIS. I dream of him taking down the US single handedly and whatnot. No, 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 no. But that's just my point. You should also take into consideration that if you do have children, your children might not turn out so good, so well, or so good, and you need to take the appropriate action. Honestly, if one of my children just does something over the top where I say, no, it's enough, okay, my patience has run thin, then it's over. I disown that child, my child, him or her, whatever. And I tell him or her openly, you're not my child anymore. You brought shame upon my name and this household, so you need to fuck off. And I don't ever want to see you again. And we're done. I mean, even if I had to shoot my own child, I'd be able to do so. But yeah, that's simply my point. You should be able to do something like that. That is a worst case scenario. Um, Eric Anderson says Mourinho's son named Samaya. Eric Anderson says good for you. Yeah, but that's my point. Again, this is just one example of how important it is to be self-aware. Self-awareness automatically leads to ascendance. Just ascendance as a whole, not just spiritual ascendance. It leads to ascendance as a whole. But if you do nothing, then spend your life like if you do nothing else, then spend your life like some parasite, just living off of just living day to day, impulse by impulse. Then yeah, don't expect your life to turn out. Don't expect to get anything from your life because you're nothing more than a number. You're no different than your neighbor, and it just goes on and on and on. And on. And yeah, speaking of neighbors, even my neighbors, they're a perfect example. They live in a shithole of a house. They are pretty much pigs. They live in their own filth, and their household consists of how many people? I think 8 people or something. When their house is like what, a two-bedroom house or something. Their house is a piece of crap, and yet they still. Again, I don't have to say anything. They, I mean, the woman has 8 children, I think, or something, and they all look like her. They're just as ugly as her. And again, this is just German 101. So yeah, in any case, these are things that you need to keep in mind, and this is just an example of how important it is to become self-aware. Self-awareness will automatically, either directly or indirectly, lead to an improvement in one's living standard and thereby ascendance. I mean, I myself did the same thing. Okay, I literally forced myself to. I mean, I just replayed my entire life in my head and forced myself to bring up all the negative experiences and the source thereof and although that wasn't my aim, self-awareness, I wanted to become self-aware of what the reason was for all the negativity and all the agony and the pain and everything. With it came the additional perk, and that's also the reason why I didn't want to get married. I thought to myself, nah, screw this, okay? I mean, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice to get married and sacrifice so much just for the sake of children that I personally don't care for because I don't like children. And I came to that realization. This was years ago. I was like, what? A teenager, 17, 16 years old. So yeah, I thought about it a good while ago, and all I do is see a lot of people around me just push out children, like the vermin that they are. Eat, sleep, breathe, shit, and die. Most of you are familiar with that phrase.
eat, sleep, breathe, shit, and die. That's the way they live. And it's just, I don't even know what to say. It's just offensive. They just live by impulse. It's like they don't have a brain. Sometimes I wonder, do these quote unquote people have brains? Not because of the whole children thing, but the lack of self awareness is so offensive. The lack of intellect is so offensive. They even have difficulty counting to 10. You name it. I mean, don't have children if you're struggling to get by and then complain. You either choose. It's one or the other. If you made a conscious decision or a conscious effort to have children, and you know for yourself that, hey, listen, I'll never be rich or I'll never make a good deal of money or a lot of money. Nothing wrong with that. Then just get to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just get to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just get to it, and just accept it. Listen, I don't make a lot of money, but I want children, and my children primarily make me happy, and that's it. We'll just make do with the meager income that I have or that me and my husband have. Either that, or it's either acceptance, that which is this, okay, what I just said, it's acceptance or nothing at all. If you're of the opinion that nah, you like children, you love children even, but they're simply not worth it, then yeah, it's a different thing altogether. I mean, I think I already told you guys the story. It's the same thing with my dogs. For example, I love dogs, and long story short, I had dogs. I think a couple of people can see that in my videos, but I don't have these dogs anymore because I said to myself in the beginning, these dogs are worth the effort, they're worth all the trouble. But that stopped after half a year. These dogs became such a nuisance, such an eyesore, and such a pain in the ass that I just said to myself, nah, screw this, okay? I mean, the drawbacks grossly outweigh the benefits, and I simply disposed of them. I didn't do this just willy nilly, I didn't do this out of the blue. This was literally ongoing for month after month, day after day, where I brought up nothing but patience. I said to myself, nah, it's okay, it's okay. I spend nothing but money on these dogs. These dogs, one of them got sick almost constantly every fucking month. It was something else. If it wasn't the flu, it was something. Doctor's bills just kept keeping up, veterinarian bills, and I still took him to the veterinarian. I did everything. They literally pissed and shit all over the place, or pissed and shat all over the place, and I still said to myself, okay, it's okay, it's okay. Maybe it's just a phase. Once they grow up, it should be fine. We should be fine. But no, they never grew up. To the point where I asked myself, there's a good chance that my dogs are mentally retarded. There's a good chance that they're mentally ill, or that they're simply retarded. Period. That they're psychotic or something severely wrong with them psychologically. And honestly, if it were possible, if it was the easiest option, I would put them down. I'd have all three of them put down. It might sound cruel, but it's not. Okay. All three of them. I would put them down. End of story. But that wasn't the case. So I just fucking disposed of them, and they can go live alongside the street, and let's see how they fare there without my proper care, without food and everything. I'm done with them, period. Eric Anderson says famous quote from Moreno. And yeah, listen, I am just cold like that. But other people, again, especially people that live by impulse, they just hang on to things for emotional reasons when those things don't make any sense. And the thing is that before you know it, you're stuck in a hole that you yourself dug or helped dig, either with by yourself or with someone else, and you have nothing. You have nothing to show for your life, and now it's like you find yourself between a rock and a hard place, and you simply don't have the balls or the willpower to actually make a harsh decision. For example, just divorcing your partner and going to live on your own or something like that. Or either even if you are married, then you'll have to split everything 50-50. You're going to destroy the household, blah, blah, blah. I mean, of course, all of this is taking the fact that people don't have free will into account. But again, this is an entirely different chapter. This is free will set aside. Aside from free will, the fact that free will is non existent, aside from that, it's simply the case that you should, again, it's simply the case that you should be self aware. Self awareness leads to ascendance, spiritual ascendance as well as ascendance as a whole. But yeah, just again, the whole people having children thing is just an example. Ask a lot of people globally, and you'll see that a lot of people will have difficulty coming up with a plausible or normal explanation. You know, a lot of them either give cockamamie reasons, they simply wanted children. They can't give you any plausible reason. I've seen people that still go to school. We're talking about teenage mothers. They still go to school and they can't even wipe their own rear ends, and yet they have children. And I'm like, wow, how worthless are you? You just redefine being worthless without even trying. But again, their problem, not mine. I don't care about their worthless asses nor their urban offspring. To each his own. If you want to be a worthless piece of crap, then that's your problem. But I'm not having any of it. Honestly, I think I choose that over living like that. Does anyone have any other questions? Any other questions whatsoever? Note that a lot of note that a lot of a lot of the children that these so-called mothers have also end up badly. Note what happens when a child is ignored or neglected and isn't being raised with morals and standards. You know, it's like the apple doesn't fall from the tree. Same worthless tree, same worthless apple. Um, and yeah, a lot of them turn out really bad. You know, they either end up in prison at some point in their life or something similar. Eric Anderson says 16 pregnant, real snow. What do you mean by real snow, Eric Anderson? Oh, so yeah, that's pretty much what I. Oh, real show. Okay, Eric Anderson says real show. 16 and pregnant, real show. Yeah, it's a real show. You mean? Yeah, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, teenage mothers is definitely offensive and it's an abomination. But again, people that can afford to be pregnant in their teenage years, or people that usually have parents that are well off financially, or parents that won't have difficulty, or parents that just accept that child, again, that's their problem entirely. But I'm not having any of it. Okay, because my problem is that a lot of these people complain that don't complain and moan and bitch that your life is nothing when you yourself contributed to making it nothing. I mean, if you put a conscious effort, if you put in a conscious effort and you didn't come out on top, things just didn't go your way, then I can say, okay, at least you tried. You know, you tried, you lost, it's okay, but you tried. That's important. But I mean, you don't even do anything. I mean, it's just so offensive how worthless these quote unquote people can be. That I don't even know where to begin. And from an occult perspective, from a religious perspective, from a Christian perspective, what does the Bible say about offspring? Regarding the Bible is neutral as far as I know regarding self-awareness, but that goes without saying. Regarding regarding the concept of having children, as far as I remember, religiously speaking, most mainstream religions say that you can have children, but not to act like your vagina is a clown car. You can have children, but your children should simply you should only have children as a means of procreation. So not 20,000 children. On average, two would be the appropriate amount, a fair amount. Um, and yeah, that is it. This is just an example that I wanted to give people and how important it is to become to be self-aware. Self-awareness is very important. One of the most important things in terms of self-ascendance and whatnot, because it's not going to happen if you can't if you're not even aware of your own life and your own living circumstances and your own conditions and everything else revolving that. Does anyone else have any questions? We've been live streaming for 40 minutes now. Let me see. I'm only honestly, by I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I'm only seeing one person watching this live stream. It's gone down to one. I don't know if a couple of women felt offended along the way, but I don't care even if that is the case. Eric Anderson says you, him, me. Now I see two people. Yeah, it's just I don't even know where to begin. As for David B's earlier comment that people used to have a lot of children, yeah, that's true. People used to have a lot of children, and they used to also a lot of them. That was when back when the world was still undeveloped. And notice that the world got more developed, people started having less children, or vice versa. As people started having less children, the world became more developed, and that's not a coincidence as far as I know. Okay, as far as I can tell, as the population density decreased, people automatically, as the population density decreased, people automatically, mankind became more advanced on practically every front or at every level. Back in medieval times, they also used to have fucking children like there was no tomorrow. I mean, one family had what, 6 or 7 children. I mean, it just goes to show you, okay, how primitive people were back then, and how cavemanish they were. So yeah, it's just I I I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, it's just offensive how someone can be that way. I mean, you'd think that the opposite would be the case, that people would have as little children as possible. They would have as little children as possible under such dire living circumstances or under such primitive circumstances. And the excuse that there was nothing to do because there was no television or anything like that, so sex was the only fun thing that they could do, is nonsense. I mean, if you're familiar with the if you're familiar with the fact that, for example, birth control was also a huge issue back then, if you're familiar with that fact, and you know that, hey, if you have sex with your wife or husband, there's a chance you might get pregnant, especially because you have no way to counteract it. Then yeah, think of another solution. Use the pull-out method or whatever the hell you want to do. But you know that you can have as much sex as you want. Just don't ejaculate inside your wife or inside the woman that you're doing it with. Otherwise, you have a problem. But yeah, they want they want specifically bright back then. So yeah, that's also a huge issue. And this is also why it was so easy to take advantage of people back in the day, especially with mainstream religions having done so and being seen as the government basically, or even being more powerful than any kind of government that existed or governing body that existed back then. And yeah, that is it in any case for this topic. Does anyone else have any other questions? Any questions whatsoever? Just keeps getting harder. I mean, aside from this topic, I also have miscellaneous. Anyone else is also welcome to ask miscellaneous questions the same way that what's his name? The same way that Gregorium says hello, hello, Gregorium, nice Fedora. I'm sorry, Gregorium. I'm only now just reading your thing, your comment. What's the guy? Mario David. Yeah, just like Mario David. Oh. Gregorium says no problem. I trust that with all of you, everything is going okay. Gregory M, Eric Anderson, David B, everything else is going okay on a personal level, I'm assuming. Eric Anderson says you have no air conditioning. Yeah, I do have air conditioning, but again, the big flaw, a thing that I hate about air conditioning is that it's subject to the outside temperature, which I think is nonsense, of course. I My air conditioner is always on and it's at 20 degrees, but it's not 20 degrees inside. Right now, it feels like what, 33, 35 degrees inside my living room. So that means that outside it's like 40 degrees, which is absolutely murderous. But yeah, I can't do anything about it. I mean, of course, by all logic too. Okay, the air conditioner, the room temperature should remain 20 degrees, regardless of how hot it is outside. But yeah, flawed technology at its finest. That's why how I long for winter. Jesus, man. I just fuck it. I'd much rather sit in the cold. Okay, I'd much rather sit in the cold in winter time, wearing exactly what I'm wearing right now, than just sit like this. You know, the cold you can do something about. You can cover up or wear additional clothing, but I can't do shit about the heat. It's just too fucking hot. Example. Okay, Google. Current temperature.
The temperature in the New Grand right now is 33 degrees Celsius. Due to the current humidity, it feels like it's 38.
You heard that? Due to the current humidity, it feels like it's 38. 38 degrees Celsius. It's a quarter to 5 in my location, 4:41 p.m., and it's 38 fucking degrees. Uh, 38 degrees Celsius. It's just unbearable, to be honest. Uh, okay, if no one else has any other questions, anything else to mention? Oh, Gregorian says, by the way, nothing new regarding the immigration front. No, nothing new. Okay, stuff like this takes time. I still need to take care of affairs here. So yeah, it will take a while. I don't want it to take a while, but there's nothing I can do. Okay, when things take time, then they simply take time, and I'm sure that you can understand that, Gregory. Regarding what I told you guys, right? The guest bedroom is coming along nicely. They the guys came by today and they installed that. They placed new windows. Those fucking $200 windows. Those $200 windows, they had them placed, so everything looks okay now. They were supposed to do it yesterday, but yeah, what do you expect? It's work less than nothing, shouldn't it? So yeah, nothing works on a punctual basis or a timetable. I mean, things almost turned into a heated discussion, or not almost, it turned into a heated discussion because the two boys that came by, the two guys that came by worked for an Asian guy, and the Asian guy said that, hey, listen, if you want this middle banister removed, you'll have to pay extra for it on the phone. And I was like, no, no one told me that. I paid in full. I showed you guys. I took pictures of the windows. You told me, yes, that's the amount, $200 to have these windows replaced in its entirety or in their entirety. The guys didn't bring a circular saw with them to cut through that piece of wood, a vertical piece of wood. And it just keeps going on and on and on. So they said, okay, can we please do it tomorrow morning? Blah 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 blah. And they did it. Um, Rick Anderson says like at a snail's pace. I need to ask, everyone can still hear me okay? Because I'm seeing for some reason that Thingy is telling me, YouTube is telling me unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. Are you guys capable of commenting still? Can you guys still comment? Let me know. Can you still comment? No one's replying. What? Hold on, let me see. YouTube is being a piece of crap again as usual. There's nothing wrong with my connection. Hold on, people. Let me just go online and come on. Fuck you doing? Open you piece of shit. Oh yeah, Eric Anderson says 10 out of 10 and Graham says yes. Okay. The thing is that I can't see you guys here when looking at my own live stream, so I had to go into the live control room to comment. Piece of shit, YouTube, as usual. So yeah, here I can see you guys' comment. Okay. So in any case, yeah, that's it. I also had the back of the rear end of my house, the backyard of my house. I had it sprayed with pesticides because it's turning into a jungle out there, and I have a hammock out back that I retreat to when things get too hot. The house basically absorbs all solar rays when the sun bears down on it, and there is nothing but shade out back, so I enjoy sitting in that hammock. But yeah, lately you've got too much vermin crawling around there. You know, I keep hearing buzzing and stuff. Everything from mosquitoes to bees and so on. So I had a friend of mine come by. He deals with yard work and he's just an overall handyman. And he just sprayed there to kill off all plants and vegetation. And he's gonna lay some finishing touches the day after Friday. Um, Coming close to an hour now in terms of streaming. So yeah, I unfortunately have nothing else really to mention. I can't say anything. I mean, I've already discussed the main topic, and you guys don't really have any other questions. Eric Anderson says must be David B. No, it's not David B. It's not David. David, it's all the way in the Czech Republic. It's all the way there. So yeah. Gregorian says you can transform the place into a beautiful house with all those improvements. Listen, the thing is, I was planning on making a lot of improvements before the owner told me how much he wants for the house. So remember how much the house cost? Remember how much the house cost? That's the whole point. So no, I was planning on having. I was planning on having cobblestones. I was planning on making a cobblestone path by having cobblestones thrown around the house, completely thrown around the house, so that you wouldn't have to walk on sand anymore. And it would also help during rainy season. You know, you could easily walk on these stones, and it wouldn't cost too much. Blah blah blah, etc. etc. It would be really nice. I also wanted to place one of those circular small swimming pools out back, you know, kind of like a jacuzzi with a ladder that you can walk on, and you can just go into the jacuzzi and just chill and relax. For example, on hot days like these. But when the owner told me how much he wants for the house, I was like, no, fuck that. No, 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 no. I mean, I didn't even want to have these windows replaced. I might just take it out of this month's rent or something. I think I might just do so because I don't really want to do anything to this house anymore. I don't want to make any improvement whatsoever. I've lost all motivation and all morale, and I'm assuming that that would be the case for anyone. I mean, even you guys, I'm assuming that you guys would just drop everything like me. It doesn't make any sense to basically contribute to a house that you don't own and a house that otherwise you're just literally feeding into the owner's pocket, increasing the value of the house, and so on. And today, a neighbor also approached me in the morning time. He told me that they're going to make my horrendously abysmal street. They're collecting money to get this street done, and they're going to have it evened out and have stone, also cobblestones thrown on it. And he was collecting money. It was like $100 a person. Like, yeah, fine, here you go. I happen to have $100 on me, so I was like, yeah, there you go. And you know, other things made, other improvements made. I was when I first moved into this house, I was planning on when I first moved into this house, I was planning on, to be honest, on making a bunch of improvements. You know, I was planning on getting this street asphalted too and everything. But after they told me the price, for after they told me how much it's going to cost, just to have it asphalted all the way to my house. I was just like, no, fuck that, no, screw that. Hmm. So yeah, that's what they that's what they're asking me. That's what contractors here are asking me for the nearest intersection to my house. The nearest intersection to my house is about 200 meters in length, and the street is 4 meters wide. And that's their asking price. And this isn't in local currency, this is in American dollars. And the street is like what, 4 to 5 times that? The street is like 800 meters, 1 kilometer. Gregorian says, yeah, got it. All you do actually is for him. Yeah. Eric Anderson says, fuck. Gregorian says, expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. Everything. I mean, it's just offensive. It's only supposed to cost like what? $700, under $1,000, and they have the balls to ask me that amount. And I just dropped everything. I literally dropped everything, any kind of plan that was in my head. Immediately, just went out the window. I was like, no, fuck that. And I also don't want to make that. Aside from this reason, the other main reason is too that I don't want my. I'm definitely not going to make any improvements without my neighbors contributing to everything as a whole, and them making use of my street. That's not going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to allow my vermin neighbors to walk on the street that I paid for. So no, screw that. Uh, let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, people think that yeah, that moving is easy. Nah, why do you think no one moves from here to abroad? It's like one-way traffic. People come here, but they don't move from here. Okay, because it's like swimming against the tide, duplicated times 10,000 or multiplied by 10,000. It's ridiculously expensive. I'm just telling you guys because a lot of people in the past have told me this, and again, self-awareness plays a role. People think that I'm not serious about leaving here or something else, and I've told them it's not that at all. I'm serious. I mean, I define seriousness, but they have no idea. I mean, it's easy when you have a European passport or a North American passport, but like I've said numerous times before, I can't even with my passport, I can't even wipe my rear end. I can't even do that. I can't even use it as toilet paper. Not even that. So yeah, even for someone like me, it takes time. It's not all about money or all about anything else. It's not about that. It's just to say that it's even by my standards, it's still far fetched. So yeah, it is still unfortunately going to take a while. It's still going to take a while. But in any case, this is just so you guys know. But for me, it's all about leaving as quickly as possible, of course, as quickly as possible. Let me see. We're approaching an hour now on the stream. Um, Gregorian says the house was empty before you, so I don't get why he doesn't want to sell it to you. Yeah, the house was empty before me. I think I'm the only tenant that has ever rented this house. This house was only built halfway. The owner told me that's why it was in such a bad condition. The house was only built halfway. It wasn't built in full. The owner told me that he had to leave the house just out of the blue to work on another project, and he never looked back. Basically, the house has been empty all since that time, and I'm the only tenant that this house has ever had. I mean, the neighborhood is a piece of crap. My neighbors specifically are a piece of crap. The street infrastructure is horrendously bad. The only good thing about the neighborhood is that it's peaceful. You're not alongside a main road or a highway of any sort. So it's just peaceful. It just is.
Uh, yeah, it just is. That's the only benefit. But no, in all honesty, I don't want to. I don't want to speak ill of the owner, but the owner is just. Gregory says, okay. The owner is just trying to bide his time because he's also not the youngest, so he's trying to make as much money off of this transaction as possible. He just wants to enjoy the rent money that I give him on a month-to-month basis, and that is all. He doesn't want to do anything else. On the one hand, I understand him, but on the other hand, it is illogical. I mean, no one's gonna buy this house, so why not sell it to me if I'm willing to buy it? I mean, the offer that I made was very reasonable, but yeah, I have no idea what the hell. I have no idea. I just have no idea. Period. Okay. I mean, it's not a thingy. Eric Anderson says, I love peace and quiet. Gregory says, exactly. It's not based on rational thinking. Like I said, I mean, the entire answer that he gave was clearly that he wants to stall. You know, it's like someone that's trying to postpone a decision as much as long as possible so that he knows that, hey, when I die, I only have a couple of more years to go. So when I die, I won't have to worry about it anymore. And, you know, the person that I handed it down to will have to worry about it. So that's my point. That's literally my point. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, this is just sheer coincidence. I'm not too fond of this house. Okay, this house design is okay, but the neighborhood and my neighbors are abysmal. It's just stereotypically Surinamese. Yeah. I'm surrounded by shit, bluntly put, and uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I just said to myself, you know, since I'm in this house, it would be fair if I just paid rent for a set amount of years, a set amount of time. For example, I paid rent for 10 years, for example, and then the house is mine after 10 years. I mean, that's more than fair. I mean, even the owner gets a profit out of it of what, 10 to 20,000 euros or something along those lines. But bottom line is that he does make a profit. For the rest, no one else wants this house or anything similar. I can say that in its fullest confidence. So yeah, the decision was really illogical. I also didn't see it coming. I was like, seriously? What kind of dunderhead to reject such an offer? But I was like, okay, nah, the guy just wants to. After a friend of mine made a comment, I was like, okay, nah, that friend of mine is right. The guy just most likely wants to eat up the rent money as much as possible. He just wants to enjoy the rent as much as possible. And he's not thinking about the long term. He's just thinking about he's just thinking in the short term, you know, on a month to month basis. And he thinks after I'm dead, I don't have long to go anymore. Maybe 5 years, 10 years after I'm dead, you know, the birth my children or whomever I put in charge can worry their heads over this house. I'm not gonna have to worry about it anymore. It's not going to be a burden. Gregory says that's really stupid actually. Yeah, I know, but what do you expect? It's Surinamese mentality. The Burman here, they don't think in the long term. They don't focus on building one's house literally as well as metaphorically or figuratively on in the long term. They don't think about making long term decisions that will benefit them 20 years from now or 50 years from now. They just think, you know, they just live moment to moment. Again, it's all about self awareness, what I said, and Vermin mentality. I mean, that's just stupid, okay? Not thinking about the future. That's just stupid. Uh, but yeah, what can I say? I mean, you should see the roads. That's why the government doesn't plan things in advance. For example, 20 to 25 years from now, they simply seek the cheapest option available. That's why roads look like Swiss fucking cheese here. Driving a road in the center of town, a couple of roads or a lot of roads, as a matter of fact, is literally like driving in Swiss cheese. You should really be able to navigate and to circumvent potholes, etc. It's just, it's just, I have no words for it. But yeah, what do you expect? Shithole. So yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever because I had a lot of plans for this house. I said to myself, you know, I can always use this house as a vacation house whenever I want to
Whenever I'm bored with weather, I'm bored with, for example, the weather in Europe or so on. If I'm bored in winter time, I can just come over here and enjoy the warmth just for a brief amount of time, a couple of weeks. You name it. I'll have someone look after the house for me, and I could just pimp this house. I could really have everything working properly and whatnot. You name it. But it's yeah, everything is just so disheartening. Everything just brings you down. Okay, everything almost demoralizes you, and I'm someone, if something demoralizes me, then you know that it's really bad. It really has to be bad. uh, I mean, yeah, Eric Anderson says that's a good idea. Yeah, I know it's a good idea. That way I could invite you guys over easily, easily invite you guys over. I could easily do everything. So yeah, I was planning on making a bunch of improvements to the house, but yeah, all of those ideas have pretty much gone out the window. I mean, what would you do if a small vacation home in a shithole like this, just the smallest of improvements cost thousands of dollars, something that the average person has to work a year for to make. It makes no sense whatsoever. Gregory says, or to rent it when you're not around. It's just, I have no words for it, okay? The windows downstairs cost $100 a piece, 100 American dollars. So $200 just to have two fucking windows replaced. In that guest bedroom downstairs, I'm still gonna buy an air conditioner. I'm going to buy a guest laptop. The laptop is okay. I can find a good laptop for $350. But an air conditioner here locally costs around $600 American dollars. Can you imagine that? That's 3 months worth of someone's income just for an air conditioner. But yeah, regardless, things are shaping up pretty nicely and everything is going fine. No complaints. Uh, so yeah, that's it. I mean, for the rest, it's just I literally have no words for it. Eric Anderson says it costs an arm and a leg. Yeah, yeah. David B. I spoke to her about David B. We had this short discussion. I think David B. isn't online anymore, but David B. is David B. I also spoke about it with him. I think last week or something. Oh, Day Chief has come online. Hello, Itomansky Day Chief. He's asking me what we talked about. Gregory retracted his message. I have no idea why you're pulling an Eric Anderson on us. Day Chief, hello. We're simply talking about the high living expenses in my quote unquote country and my house, and simply how my house cannot catch a break in terms of being bought by me. Um, Gregory, you copy and pasted the same comment. Listening to you, it's hard to say what Suriname gets what it deserves. Why'd you remove the 777? The 777 was a nice touch. Day Chief is asking me whether I have a pool. No, I don't have a pool. I was planning on buying one out back, but the fact that here is beyond shithole-ish is just such a downer and so demoralizing that you just don't want to do anything anymore. In any case, where was I? Yeah, so you can imagine, okay, how much it's costing and whatnot. It's just so offensive. I have no idea. It's just so offensive. There are so many things that need to be done. So many things that there are so many things that I need to do. So yeah, like I said, having the windows changed downstairs is already $200. I still need to buy an air conditioner and a laptop. Combined, they're going to come to $1,000, 1,000 American dollars. Eric Anderson says I miss code 919. Oh, I think code 919 is just busy with his daily dealings. and uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. He's just busy with his daily dealings. Um, Plus, I don't really have anything else to say. Okay, I'm going to do those things regardless because I have little to no other choice in the matter. But I strongly disagree with the price and everything. I mean, it's like my internet connection. I'm not going to keep it, of course. So enjoy it while it lasts because that goes both ways for you guys as well as me. Because there might be a lot less live streaming uh, when I finally get rid of my Digicel internet connection, my $378 internet connection a month, and I just switched to the backup, $40 a month. So yeah, that is it. Let me see if there's anything else that I had to say. Nothing else really, but regardless, it's still going to happen. So you guys might be glad. Gregory and you, especially since you asked me via WhatsApp. I hope you don't mind me mentioning it in this live stream. You know, the guest bedroom is coming along nicely. I also wanted to tell people while I'm on the subject, don't worry about it. The occult giveaway is obviously completely canceled and everything, but I might still invite a couple of people down here. But this will be strictly in a discreet way, and I'll be the judge of when I want to invite people over here. So I'll decide whom I want to invite, why I want to invite people. See, look at the fucking sun. Look at the sun. Hold on, guys. Let me switch to Wi-Fi and seek out shade because the sun is starting to annoy me. It's really starting to annoy me. Oh, I need to take the thing with me. Need to take the mouse with me. Oh, oh motherfucker. Motherfucker. Oh. My Red Bull and my cell phone too. Um, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Oh. Ay, 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 ay. I'll do it to you in a second, guys. Just give me a second. Get in there. To just give me a second to attach the extension cord to. Just give me a second to attach the extension cord to the power cable. Uh, yeah. And now I'm back. That's better. Hold on for a second. Let me reload the page. YouTube live stream says variable resolution stream bad. Go fuck yourself, YouTube. Okay. I live in Suriname, so don't expect any wonders. Let me check to see how fast my thingy is. Open, 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 you piece of shit. Open. Let's see how fast my upload speed is. Okay, in any case. Gregory says Eric Anderson, yeah, where is code 919? He's working now. Okay, wow, that's bright, Eric Anderson. Itomansky Deichi says, is the Baphomet and Satan the same? No. Gregory says, just wondering, have you ever had any local clients? No, don't make me laugh, Gregory The local people can afford me. They can't even come close to affording me or being able to afford me. I don't want to come off as arrogant, but no, not even remotely can they afford me. So now you know. Gregory is laughing, saying okay. Oh crap! Just give me a second. I had a haircut, as you guys can tell. No more big hair for me. It was time to get a haircut, so yeah, I got the haircut. My fedoras fit a lot easier and are also more subject to flying away. If someone just hits me upside the head, my fedora will just fly along. Gregory says, yeah, fresh. Yeah, thanks, thanks. Look good. Eric Anderson says, yeah, thanks. Um, so yeah, the air conditioner is on right now. It's at 20 degrees, but I'm not feeling a damn thing. I'm literally not feeling anything. And even here in my bedroom table, you guys can still see the sunlight in the background because the sun is still shining bright. Yeah, it's sundown, so what do you expect? There's nothing really that can be done about that, but it doesn't matter. In any case, moving on. Um, yeah, like I said, I still might invite one or two of you guys, but I'll message you privately for that. Um, in any case, those of you that are serious about coming here or interested, um, I don't know, things that I can just tell you guys basic things in advance. Don't expect any internet connection here. You're going to have to make do with the 3 MB internet connection. Download 1 MB, upload. And for the rest, yeah, that's pretty much it. So just have your sights set on nature, okay? Enjoying beautiful nature and a break from the cold, a break from sub-zero or near sub-zero temperatures. So no 10 degrees or anything. This is what it's going to look like on a day-to-day basis. Even if it rains and it storms, it's still going to be 25 degrees. So yeah, it's still going to be fucking hot, regardless of what you do. And don't expect anything in the way of quality because locals can't spell quality, let alone know what quality is. And yeah, the chief is asking me whether my guides bring smells with them. No, they do not. So yeah, honestly, that is pretty much it. I mean, I'd show you guys the room, but not just yet. I think it's better to show people the room. I'm not going to publicize it. It's better to show people the room once it's done. It's a lot better to show people my guest bedroom once it's done. And I also intend on making use of that guest bedroom. Since it's a lot smaller, the air conditioner will keep it cold a lot quicker and easier because my bedroom, to be fair or to be honest, my air conditioner is too small. It's a 12,000 BTU air conditioner, and my room is like what? My bedroom is like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Let's just say round it off to 50 square meters. And yeah, air conditioner is too small. I'd need a big one, one that is at least twice as strong to keep things cold in here. But downstairs, that room, that guest room is what? Is I think 4 by 4, so yeah, 16 square meters. So yeah, it's such an air conditioner. A 12,000 BTU will keep it colder a lot easier. And I might, again, like I said, I might make use of it myself. I already tested out the room by going into it, and everything's still covered in plastic. And lying on the bed and everything, just seeing what it's like, so that my guests or guest won't have any negative experiences. The sun, I'm taking all of these things into consideration. But yeah, since I'm on the subject, Santix Menesosa says, hi Marino, you're online. Hello. Eric Anderson says, I can't wait. As a matter of fact, let's see. I've been streaming for what now? For an hour and 19 minutes. 4 people are watching this stream. The I need to check to see if the sun is capable of penetrating through that mirror glass that I have installed downstairs. Because how it works is that I obviously asked someone. I mean, I asked the contractor that installed those glass windows to have those glasses be one-sided. So the window glass is of such a nature that you can see outside, but no one can see inside. And I tested it in the morning time, and yeah, I can see it even if I can see inside, even if I'm all the way in front of the glass. I'm standing literally in front of the window. I can't see inside. I really have to strain myself and go like this to see just a little bit, to see what's inside. So yeah, let alone from street view. So in any case, it works fine during the day, but I want to check to see what it looks like during the night, at night time. And I also want to see whether it is sun-proof or solar-proof. So we'll see regarding that. Uh, yeah, regardless of what happens, the show must go on. And I also don't mess around. So that is that. I might buy a bigger air conditioner and have them uninstall this one and install it downstairs. We'll see. Uh, Anyone else have any other questions? Any questiones? I'm assuming that none of you have any other questions. Gregory says, cool. No problem. And by the way, anyone that wants to add me to WhatsApp can do so. This is my phone number. 597 is the country code, and the actual number is 850-6356. Gregory says, yeah, occult related. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, Gregory because I might close off the stream in a second since I have no subjects to talk about. I have nothing to talk about whatsoever. So just go ahead. Just go ahead. Give me your occult related question, and I think I'm going to put my fedora aside. I'm going to set it aside. So yeah, Gregory, your question. Give me your occult related question. I'm listening. Gregory says, I read that Lilith and your Lord Samael were married. Yeah, are still married. Yeah, what of it? So yeah, what of it, Gregory? What of it? I'm listening. I don't understand the marital concept with those entities. Oh, okay. How did they meet? Eric Anderson? No, crap, is asking. How did they meet? Eric Anderson is asking. What does that mean? Is that the same as us? No, it's not the same. No, it's not the same. Okay, it's an unspoken bond. That's what you can compare marriage to, astral marriage. It's not at all like human beings. It's a lot deeper, and it's a permanent bond. You know, it's kind of like a whole kindred spirit thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's no other way to phrase it or no other way to explain it. That's pretty much it. Okay. So any other questions? Does anyone else have anything else to say? Anyone have anything else to say? And I also want you guys' opinion. Gregorian says, thank you, no problem. Um, of all of my tattoos, right? Which one stands out the most? Which one stands out the most? Which one is the most noticeable? I'm asking all of you. Eric Anderson says, Shorio. You mean Cairo? You mean Cairo? That one stands out the most. Okay. Eric Anderson says yes. And you, I mean, the rest, what about the other guys? Gregory M, what do you think? Gregory M says, yeah, Cairo. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, the difference is noticeable. Gregory M says Aries too. No, but the one that stands out the most is definitely this one, right? That one stands out the most. Yeah, I thought so. I've also noticed it. Okay, that's because Cairo's power supersedes pretty much everything else. Um, Gregory, were you going to say something else since you retracted your message? Any other questions? I mean, Gregory, were you going to say something since you retracted your message? If not, then I am going to close off. No. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to say goodbye then. Too fucking hot. But not the heat. I also don't have a lot to say or not a lot else to say. I already discussed the topic at hand. Was fun seeing you guys again. And until next time. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi. Come on, open, 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 open. Fuck off. Bye, guys. Until next time. Eric Anderson says goodbye. Thank you. Greg Graham says bye. Yeah, bye.